This video is going to be about medical gaslighting. It's honestly probably going to be multiple parts. I don't remember what video this is from because I was supposed to make this a long time ago. So at this point, I don't even remember what video this was. But I remember it was about some dude who was having some symptoms and he eventually found out like he has some rare condition at some hospital that's somewhat famous, or maybe not famous, but has a lot of notoriety. But that doesn't really matter that much anyway because I'm really making this for the comments. Wow, you have no idea how rare it is to get treated like this by dedicated specialists, doctors, and nurses. I've been so ill for 5 years and I can barely get anyone to listen to me. I'm in constant pain and ignored by doctors and specialists. And I'm gonna go into, or hopefully I'll have time to go into, how you really have to look at your own symptoms and start treating yourself after a certain point, because a lot of people fall into this mindset that they're putting their life at risk and they're being risky, quote unquote, if they start treating themselves, and then they just sit around begging for pretty much kissing people's butt for years and begging doctors for testing and stuff, and after a while they get really, really sick and then they're in hospice. And doctors love to pull that thing where they give somebody a diagnosis after they die or once they're in hospice. But yeah, you don't want to do that, and realistically you don't have to. Like, with the internet access and probably having, well, no, libraries aren't worth jack anymore because all the good books aren't in there, they're banned. But with the internet, at least, you can find a lot of good info on there and read a lot of medical files, maybe even get a biology book or something and learn some biology and start piecing things together. There's this joke about how schools tell people the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell and how it can't help anybody with anything. But when you start having to cure your health issues, or maybe even you're helping other people cure their issues, then that does mean something. Because sometimes, due to different things that happen, issues can start at a deep cellular level. You were so lucky to have been in the right place. So pleased you got the right treatment to get better. If only other medical professionals were like the ones you were blessed with. I mean, at the end of the day, though, they still don't treat anybody and tell people that the things that they have are incurable. So, the people who actually are able to get a diagnosis, there's, it's still kind of whatever because they're not getting treated for any of the things that they have. So, it's still kind of what's the point if you ask me? And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. The modern systems have really brainwashed people over the course of definitely 20 plus years that you can't do anything for yourself and you always have to run to other people for everything. And obviously, if you watch any of my videos and you know what this channel is mostly about and was made off of, I always wait a minute. How do I explain this? I don't even know. But you should know that there really is no system put in place to help anybody with jack. More of the reason why people really need to get out this mindset that you have to run to somebody else with a quote unquote education for any and everything that's going on in your life. Because, one, with the education system, they probably don't know too much real stuff that could really be beneficial. And two, it's really money based. So if you don't have money, or a lot of money, that can also keep you from really being able to get real treatment. And I know people say we have free healthcare, but free healthcare is really for like getting your teeth cleaned every 6 months and for being manipulated into getting teeth pulls and root canals, if that's not the same thing, that you don't even need. With the things that I've pieced together about the medical system specifically over the years, all fields of it, it really seems like even if you have what people consider a decent amount of money, you're still going to get mind games, to make a long story short. Me too, I've been suffering for a year and no one is listening to me. 5 years, man. Sorry, dude, praying. It's been 3 years and I'm still at the same situation. I think I have a playlist called Truth of Medical Staff My Videos that go over different situations like this, although I commonly forget to put my videos in there. Just like with the Cash for Kids system, my videos playlist that probably has way less videos in it than it should. Because I remember to like add videos to the playlist that are from like other people's channels, other people's documentaries, but I never really remember to do that for my videos. So, if you like, I don't know, want to understand more about medical gaslighting and maybe even why you have some of the issues you do. What is going on? Why are so many people who are severely sick being ignored? I've spoken to so many in my situation, all the doctors are treating us all the same. Hey Marnie, I'm so sorry to hear this. I know exactly how you feel. It's so lonely and terribly depressing. I have no idea what is going on. But we are not alone. We are all being ignored. I have joined so many groups, people from all over the world, and they are all saying the same thing. I have suffered from persistent stomach pain for years now. Nothing seems to be changing with my weight in my body. But it's been a terrible 7 years of constant pain. You are really blessed to have had this cured. One thing I'll say though is that one of the things that's helped for me with the iatrogenic effects, healing from that, and the mold toxicity is HCl, betaine-HCl with pepsin, and I more so recently started the triple probiotic therapy or protocol or whatever you would call it, with lacto blend, and then another one which is Saccharomyces boulardii, and then the third one was a soil-based probiotic. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff is actually pretty expensive, but I'm not even gonna go back down into that story that I told before some months ago. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely helped a lot. And it's like, that's why I should probably make a video specifically about gaslighting if I haven't already. Gaslighting, not even from medical staff, but just from like abusive people who may be around you when your health is really messed up. Because honestly, if I would have done more research and wasn't like being gaslit so much when I was in my situation, I honestly would have got some of these supplements way back then. And I mean, sure, I was still like in a bullcrappy situation. I was still living in mold too. But it's like, I feel like I could have just saved myself from a lot of pain, especially when it comes to the pelvic pain that I got from the mold toxicity that I now know could be referred to as well, actually it's a couple different names. Like there's IC, but it was honestly kind of worse than that. Pelvic floor dysfunction, spastic colon. It's a couple different names for it, but binders help with that. Like even the activated charcoal capsule. And if I would have known back then that I could have just took an activated charcoal capsule, that could have saved me a lot of pain and not being able to walk. And it's like, that's why you really have to like not ignore your symptoms and take your health in your own hands, because letting people who don't give a crap about how you feel and they're just, I don't know, maybe even unaware, but pretty much stop letting other people tell you bull crap and just make you feel like you're just supposed to try to walk things off. And let me not even go into all that and what I thought I could walk off. But yeah, don't do that. Especially if you actually like have money, you could really buy the supplements and stuff that could really help you with your issues. In fact, I forgot to mention, I had been felt like I really like couldn't digest food for a while. In fact, I recently had some memories even of situations um back at 14 when I more so started to like get quote unquote sick, I guess, cuz I don't like really claiming issues, but I had some memories of different times then where like I was at a restaurant with one of my dad's girlfriends and him and we were at this Italian restaurant and I was eating this like pizza thing and I wanted to eat it so bad and I was eating as much as possible, but I just knew that like I was gonna be in so much pain after. And that's one of the things I used to deal with a lot. I would be like, I wanna eat this so bad and I really wanna eat all of it, but I know I'm not gonna be able to because I'm just gonna be in too much pain and probably even start having acid reflux and a whole bunch of other stuff. And once I like really started doing more research about that, when I was staying in this mountain, that's when I really realized that like not only was I of course right the whole time, but also there's actually supplemental stomach acid, which is betaine HCl with pepsin. There's also other types, but the one with pepsin is honestly probably better for you. And yeah, the first time I tried it, I was not taking it right, and I feel mad that I stopped it because honestly, I could have been a lot further if I would have kept taking the HCl and even digestive enzymes way back when I had first got them. But now it's only been over like a month or two, and I've noticed so many improvements with that and the probiotics, but especially with the HCl. So yeah, don't just sit around in pain because you probably really don't have to. One thing I will say though is that when you're curing health issues, you really do want to be taking a binder. Like, really. You want to take it, like, probably before you go to sleep or something, though, because some binders, or really probably all of them, can wipe out, like, certain other supplements that you may be taking. But you really want to take a binder. Originally, when I started, well, okay, wait a minute. Before I even started the HCL, I was doing this herbal cleanse way back when. That's supposed to be for parasites and supposedly could help with mold too. And I mean, I definitely did notice some benefits, but I didn't have the money for a binder. And I also didn't actually know that like I could get activated charcoal capsules from CVS at that time. So I didn't take one. I kind of feel like that's what contributed to the whole thing happening with my spine eventually starting to hurt, but I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I honestly feel like that's probably due to a couple reasons and things that I kind of been had, but camping on a hill and being bent backwards in that terrible camping spot. I don't know why I did that. I kind of feel like that inflammation just like caused different things to build up there, but I don't know. You just want to be taking a binder anyway, though, because like especially if you had low stomach acid, or even if you didn't, once you start taking that, that's gonna help like kill off a lot of dang, wait a minute. That's gonna help kill off a lot of stuff too. And you're gonna need a binder or else you're gonna be like struggling and maybe have Herxheimer. Did you have a lot of stress at age 0 to 18? This can definitely cause a whole bunch of issues. Like doctors like that, like trauma makes people fake having issues. Like, there's a video, if I can find it, I'll put it in the description of some chiropractors or something like that, talking about how this lady was saying that she had back pain, but they told her she wasn't having back pain and that it was just her childhood trauma. That's also why, honestly, even if the diagnosis is PTSD, you really don't want that in your medical records, and you really don't want to be telling medical professionals any of that stuff. And that could be a whole video of its own. But yeah, so trauma causes health issues. Like, actually, not just symptoms of you thinking you have health issues. Because medical professionals have made up this rhetoric as another excuse to not do what they claim their job is. Commonly, people get cancer from going through emotional witchcraft from abusers with the Jezebel spirit or other spirits. And some of these illnesses can also come from unforgiveness. And of course, a lot are being caused by the food, if I can say that. Did you try going to the doctor? Whenever people ask you that, I'm not even going to that. Hey man, you should have visited a doctor. It could be cancer, which is probably growing at a very low pace, or it could be any other disease related to your genetics. I hate when people say that genetics is bullcrap for quote unquote mental or physical illness, because it's never really true. And I mean, sure, there's generational curses and generational trauma, but that still even happens because of some repeated action that's going on, and maybe even GMO. Because that can take, I think it was maybe like 3 generations to really start showing up in people, like illnesses or other issues from the stuff in the food, if I can even say all that. But what was the other thing? Oh yeah. And it's also annoying when people say stuff like this when the whole reason you got sick is because the cash for kids system and the medical side that goes along with that, or quote unquote medical. Because, I mean, they're the whole reason you are sick, and obviously they knew that you were getting sick when they were taking you through whatever. And, I don't know, questions like this are just annoying for so many reasons, because, like, obviously you've been to the doctor about the situation. Like, people, they say stupid stuff like this, and it's really annoying. It's really annoying even if you're not sick because of the medical system. And that's why I say just do what you can to, like, fix your own health issues, because, I mean, some people do have cancer, but if the doctors won't test you for it, I mean, you can either start working on your health and do what you can, or you can sit there for 20 years begging for testing if you even have that long, because if you sit there and nothing happens, it probably will progress. And, I mean, you know, like that prophet Lady Celestial said, with the way the medical system is these days, best thing you can do is just take some herbs and pray. And I'll say, do that, and also take some probiotics. In fact, that could probably be a little bit more beneficial. I mean, it depends on what herbs you're taking. But yeah. And like I mentioned before in another video, which was in a comment that I seen somewhere, at the end of the day, doctors aren't God and they can't fix all your issues. So it's like you're begging them to do something that they should do but won't do. And even if they did test you, then what? Because they don't treat or cure anybody. So, or it could be an abdomen infection which may be growing slowly. Having pain for 7 continuous years and not knowing the reason tells that you were being reckless with your own self. That's some crazy bullcrap right there. I mean, what if this person was like, I don't know if they live in the US or not, or the laws where they live, but like, what if they live in the US or some other country where they can't even seek out medical treatment if they're under 18? Or like it seems like happened with them, and like everybody in this comment section pretty much, they went to the doctor and couldn't get any answers. Or maybe they like are somewhere where they don't have access to even try to see some doctor. So yeah, that's really messy. If you're still having same symptoms, then go to a doctor ASAP. Hey, I'm having extreme pain for the last 8 years. How are you now? My mother, severe pain in upper stomach after eating food. Last 1 year. Endoscopy, colonoscopy, x-ray, ultrasound, normal. What I would think with that is probably, maybe, if not Dr.Price, it's probably low stomach acid and messed up gut microbiome. I can't seem to figure out what the problem is. It's going to be a year now. They also could have H. pylori or SIBO, but that still goes back to low stomach acid and a messed up gut microbiome. I find this utterly amazing. Nobody would care about me enough to even do anything to help me. Never mind a mother nursing me in hospitals giving pain relief. And that's what they love to do. They love to drug people up for money, and of course there's no meds for mental illness, and there's no meds for really any of these other things. They like to throw out neurotoxins for people to get addicted to, and if not get addicted to die from, or gain more health issues so they can keep coming back in the revolving door of the medical system. I'd be sent home almost immediately and left to die. I don't think people realize how lucky they are. Now for this one, I've read a little bit, and I would definitely say mold toxicity, or something else with imbalanced gut microbiome. I'm only 18 years old and in a similar situation right now. That has just been getting worse and worse over the past couple of years. The horrible stomach pain, as well as nausea, joint pain, migraines, bloating, back pain, vision getting worse, brain fog, memory loss, and so much more. It definitely sounds like mold toxicity to me. My doctor has tested me for everything he could think of, but everything always comes back negative. And that kind of reminds me of this comment that I had seen once, where some elderly dude was like, he honestly doesn't even really care for like stool test or blood test or any of that, or breath test anymore. He was like, either these tests aren't accurate, or the people who are reading them don't really know what they're doing. And yeah, I could probably say some more about that. Cause like, let's say you can't digest fat, and it's obvious you can't for many reasons, and you even like have the yellow diarrhea that goes along with that. But you get a stool test one day for fat malabsorption to see if there's fat in your stool. But the thing is, if you're not eating anything with fat in it, like around that time, of course there's not going to be fat in your stool, and it's going to come back negative. So that's just a small example. Then there's also this thing that like doctors will do where they won't actually tell you things like, well, you have to fast before you do this and stuff like that. I'm starting to lose hope that I'll ever get better, but this video just brought a little bit. That's the thing though. The only thing this video showed was some dude finding a doctor that gave him a diagnosis. If you really want any hope of getting better, you'll be better off watching a video of somebody who actually treated their issue. Not just a dude who was lucky enough to have a doctor tell him, okay, well, you have this rare condition, and then that's it. A little bit of hope back. I have similar symptoms. Bloated stomach, chronic constipation. Sometimes I get headaches and heartburn. Sounds like low stomach acid. Farting all the time. Maybe SIBO. Could be any of them. Like I said though, really all this goes back to the intestines. Whether it's the colon, unhealthy colon, or unhealthy gut. Honestly, that goes hand in hand anyway. So yeah. Farting all the time, especially during the night. I feel tired all the time, can't sleep at night at all. And on top of all that, I have anxiety. This is just crazy. I don't know what to do anymore. And they probably don't want to claim anxiety. Not just because it's a word curse, but also because doctors will take that and run with that. And throw it up in their face to say that they don't really have health issues going on, when really they have quote unquote anxiety because of their imbalanced gut microbiome. I'm not sure if this is the same video or not. I also have EDs, MCAS, and POTS. Well, not EDs. I think that stands for is it Danlos or is it Daniels? But yeah, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, however that's really said. Not ED like the other ED, MCAS, and POTS. Although something that I noticed is that whether it's abusive people around you and maybe sometimes medical professionals, whenever you have like some health issue going on where you become severely underweight because you can't gain weight and you can't digest food and stuff like that, abusive people around you and maybe the doctors will try to like sometimes throw the ED label at you, and you really got to watch out for that. Like I was saying in this video I have about this girl I know who also became really sick because of the cash for kids system abuse and psychotropics. Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, I think I remember now. So they were trying to just do the whole ED thing with her because, for one, when she got off the drug, she lost the metabolic syndrome / diabetes type 2 weight. And that's gonna happen when you get off the drugs unless maybe you get stuck with metabolic syndrome and diabetes type 2. Or you get stuck with I think it's not hypo, hyperthyroidism. I think that's it. Or would it be hypo? Because I get them mixed up sometimes. I get hypo and hyper mixed up. But whichever one keeps you big, sometimes you get that because, of course, the drugs, they mess up your thyroid, your liver, your kidneys, your pancreas, give you brain damage, mess up your pituitary gland, and they can leave you with diabetes and other autoimmune diseases. And yeah, so because she lost the metabolic syndrome weight and also was having like other issues when it came to having pain after eating, they wanted to try to do the whole, oh, you just have an ED and maybe we should lock you up thing. And the ED symptoms that she did have, they gave to her because when she was obese, they were talking junk about her then too. So, yeah, anywho, MCAS and POTS, all those things come from mold toxicity or just having gut permeability in general. I've been having problems so long and I was ignored. I really hope they educate doctors so we can start earlier management to help us live with less pain. That's the thing though. The talk shouldn't be living through issues or living with less pain. It should really be curing and healing stuff. I have various allergies that have been increasing since I was 15 years old. That sounds like gut permeability. Doctors won't listen to me. I really want to meet someone like me to talk and maybe understand what's wrong with me. I'm tired of listening. It's emotional of being prescripted the stupid. I guess I didn't screenshot the rest of that comment, but they really are prescripting the stupid though. I'm assuming this is a video about MCAS. So MCAS, just like plenty of other autoimmune issues, comes from imbalanced gut microbiome, gut permeability. Commonly, mold toxicity is the overall cause. And MCAS goes along with histamine intolerance, oxalate issues, and some other things. Yes, I hope doctors become more aware of how to find problems with this. It's honestly so sad and depressing living with pain. No one understands because for the most part, you look fine, but on the inside, you're just exhausted. Honestly, it's kind of like, I don't even know though, because even when you don't look good and you look like you're sick, people still say whatever. So, you're just exhausted and feeling like your body has the flu with all the aches and pain. I rash out when water hits my skin. Cold and hot affects it. Going outside is not the same anymore. It's always something new and random. Stomach issues is awful too, along with acid reflux. And yeah, so, like I said, this is commonly caused by mold toxicity. and stems back to histamine issues too. Amen. Doctors really need education in these areas, often triggered by mold exposure plus stress. Yeah, that'll definitely do it. Our homes need to be healthier, and our culture needs to help people relax instead of work 3 jobs just to pay rent. And then the thing is, with the common agendas, people are going to own nothing and be happy, and so nobody's really going to be able to make over a certain amount of money. And everyone's going to live off of government pensions or welfare. And I guess they're going to tell you where to live, and then you're going to live there too. So they do want to eradicate poverty, and of course that has the hidden meaning I just said. And that may also go along with eradicating homelessness, but I don't know. Because, of course, the whole thing is going to happen where they're going to remove Trump and then pull out Cam, and she's going to make homelessness a felony and a whole bunch of other things. So, I'm kind of wondering about exactly how that's going to go when it comes to the whole homeless part with eradicating poverty, quote unquote. But really, they create the issue so they can give people their solution, which also goes along with divide and conquer order out of chaos, but that's not really what this exact type is called, though. There's some other name for it, but I can't remember. OMG, this is exactly what I'm going through. I've been going through this since I was 7 years old, and it's only gotten worse. I'm 25 now. Go to Boston, best hospital in the United States. I mean, how many people really have the money for that? But yeah, so I guess maybe most of these comments are from the same video, except maybe that MCAS comment or comments. And probably most of the people in the comment section don't have what the dude in this video had. It all goes back to gut permeability and microbiome imbalances, even in ones that aren't in the intestines. Like, you can have a microbiome imbalance in your nose, in your mouth, other places. And yeah, so probably a lot of the people have SIBO, H. pylori, different things like that, mold toxicity. I would definitely say that migraine, vision loss comment, that definitely sounds like mold toxicity. And reality is, pretty much all buildings have mold. Houses, schools, stores, yeah. Like, I would definitely say I've been in mold all my life, other than when staying in a tent. And that contributed to a lot of issues. Like, I've been thinking a lot recently, and I honestly believe that living in mold is why my stepmom, quote unquote, that's why her lung collapsed back when I was like 7 or 8. And of course, that can also cause bronchitis and quote unquote allergies, which my mom and a couple other relatives had got when we were living with my sister. And she had one of those new, usual, cheaply built houses as the houses around here are. And there was a lot of mold. There was also high carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. Which one was it? I don't know. But yeah, so also Georgia just has like really bad pollution. So if you move there from pretty much anywhere else, you're going to get diagnosed with quote unquote bronchitis, asthma, and allergies. Mold toxicity just adds the fuel to the fire. In every hospital I've been to, if you mention holistic health, your paperwork will list you as delusional. I really think people get how much the rhetoric and the philosophies made by the real white supremacists at the top actually runs everything. If you say anything that isn't pushed by their mainstream media narrative, you're delusional, you're quote unquote schizophrenic, you're paranoid, you're autistic, you're all those things. Like, especially with how censorship is cracking down these days, you really can't say anything without being bashed, labeled, blackmailed, becoming a target individual whistleblower, Or maybe you're not a whistleblower, because I know sometimes people who become targeted individuals, they escape some situation, like with trafficking victims specifically, lower and higher level, but especially higher level. Even ones that don't say anything about it still get followed. You can get thrown in jail. You can get threats to get your degrees and certificates taken away. Like, not that I really am for, like, all the things he says, but like with the Dr. Umar dude, and like with the Barbara O'Neill lady, she's, doctor. Honestly, really any doctor that you can think of that's saying real, true, holistic health stuff like her, even ones that aren't completely focused on herbal medicine, they still get bashed, hushed, threatened, jail threats, some disappear. So, yeah.